right, so I can't see my videos, but apparently I can still upload them and hopefully I'll be able to see comments on them. So I'm going to try to pick up where I left off. So at this point in the story, we have just now gotten the image from her. And I want to be very clear, it was an image taken on a Kindle, okay? It wasn't the greatest. It didn't have like high megapixels like your iPhone 10. The zoom in on the sign picture that I show you, that's as much as you can zoom in on that photo without it just distorting. There was no looking at license plates on the front of the truck. There was none of that. And the thing is, her Kindle only had like 26% charge. So we had to work quickly, but because we were talking through all these people, it took a long time. So when I looked at the picture, I saw a tiny little white sign. The first thing I saw was a lack of tire on the blue truck. That's where my brain was like, there's something in front of that tire. And it was a little white sign. Okay, so now we have the photo. It's like 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday. Our FBI agent is in Florida. It's not like in the movies where I just call up Reed from Criminal Minds and say, hey, I'm going to text you this photo and you can send it to Quantico and 16 seconds later. This is real life. My daughter had 26% on that Kindle, and once that was dead, that was it. So we did not have time to piddle fart around. I knew that we had to solve this. We had to use that picture to find her, and this was our only hope. So I looked at that picture, and the first thing I saw was the end of a street sign in the top left corner, ENCA. You can see the end of a street sign, a little bit green. And then in the other end of the photo, at the very end of the hill, there's a blue truck and a white truck, and I could see a little white sign at the end of that white truck. It's very difficult to see. I've circled it to show you it's there. But in my brain, and I kind of think this was a little bit of angels, I just knew that that was a for sale sign. Okay, and again, like, I can't see these. I'm going into my profile, and it shows 0 videos, except the ones that are in my drafts. I can't respond to any comments or anything. I don't know what's going on with my TikTok, people. I turned my phone off, turned my phone back on, went into my device care, deleted all my extra cookies and shit. So I don't know what's going on, but I hope y'all are getting to see this, because that'd be the biggest flex ever. Like, that'd be like the biggest escape. Like, I'm sorry, I just didn't want to tell the story. So I contacted TikTok and was like, hey, do me a favor and delete my account. So at this point, we have the photo. We have located the house that we think is 5 doors down. So we send that photo to our FBI agent, who then contacts detectives in Georgia. And the detectives in Georgia were like, we can't dispatch to a 2-story brick building. That's not enough. But with an address, they could. Sorry, I disappeared for an hour. I had therapy. I do it on my phone, and self-care is very important. So now, in the point, our FBI agent has sent the photo to the Georgia detectives, because up until now, Georgia is like, we cannot dispatch police officers to a 2-story brick building in Georgia. We need more. And up until this point, we didn't have an address. So once we had an address, they were then able to dispatch police. And the police were dispatched to that address. But there were no streetlights. It's rural Georgia at night, like late night. It's like 11:45 midnight at this point. It's late night. It's dark. Not everybody has their porch lights on. So the police say to Pete, who says to Tony, who says to me, who says to Kat, who says to Hailey, you need to signal them. You need to let them know that you are there. They can't find where you are. So her window opened about this much. He had nailed it shut, but he did open it this much because occasionally he smoked cigarettes. And so she was able to open up the window. So at this point, Hailey has said, I've seen the police driving by. They're not stopping. What do I do? We go back and say, you need to make some noise. You need to let them know you're there. You need to make some noise. She says, I'm too scared. I'm too scared. What if he hears me? I'm too scared. I say, baby, you need to make some noise. You need to make some noise. So we watch Doctor Who. Hailey and I, we love Doctor Who. One of our favorite characters is Donna Noble. She's played by an actress named Catherine Tate. And one of Donna's things is she goes, oi, O-Y. It's a British thing. It basically is just like, hey. But over there, instead of going, hey, they go, oi. So if we're at Target and Hailey's, I can't find her, I go, oi, really loud. And she goes, oi. So that's what she did. She opened up the window and she waited for the police to drive by. And when she saw them, she went, oi, really loud. And then she fainted. So the officer says, there's been a noise complaint from this location. Are you here alone? To which he says, yeah, I'm here alone. Now, the police knew that Hailey was upstairs. At this point, they knew he was lying. So they said, are you sure? I mean, the complaint said that there was some loud noises, as in people. Are you sure you're the only one here? And he said, yeah, I'm the only one here. And they're like, well, do you mind? And at that point, when they kept pushing back and basically were like, we need to verify that you're the only one here. I don't think they said that, but that was definitely implied. At that point, he said, my girlfriend's upstairs sleeping. I can go get her. Do you want to talk to her? And they said, yeah, we need to see her. So he went, unlocked the gate, went to Hailey and said, play the game. So by the game, this is what he meant. This man had had other victims before my daughter, about 7 of them. They're all very lovely women. I've met most of them. I hold a very, very big place in my heart for them because they're all almost exactly like my daughter. He very specifically targeted women with low self-esteem, possible mental illness, and or eating disorders because he says they're easier to control. So one of the women along the way had run away and had left a license. And this woman was 21, and they all looked exactly alike. So Hailey looked enough like this person that they'd gotten pulled over twice by police, and she'd given that ID, and the cops believed that it was her. So by play the game, he meant go get that ID and pretend to be that person. So at this point, he is not aware that Hailey is the reason the police are there. He thinks that he's still in control. He thinks that she's going to play the game. So she walks up to the officer and hands the ID to the officer, and the officer says, all right, how do you spell your name? Now, Hailey had carried this ID for over a year. She knew how to spell old girl's name. She knew old girl's birthday and her height and everything. If she got it wrong while they were in public, he would beat her. So she knew the information, but she misspelled the name on purpose. And then the officer was like, okay. What's your birthday? And she said, my birthday is 5500, which is Hailey's actual birthday. At that point, they knew that they had Hailey. They arrested him. They put him in a cop car and drove him downtown. As soon as he was in the car, she broke down, fell into the arms of the officer, was like, my name is Hailey Burns. I'm a missing person. I miss my mom. I miss my dad. I want to go home. Please, I want to go home. I miss my mom and I miss my dad. So at this point, he's arrested. Cops come in. They're like, sit down. Tell us what's been going on. She sits down, gives them a very brief synopsis of what's been going on, and then says, I want to get my stuff and get my cats. Hailey acquired 2 cats while she was with him, Cinnamon and Bacon. And I'm not going to go into why. I'm not going to go into that. It might come out later, but it's not necessary right now. We're just very happy that we have Cinnamon and Bacon in our lives. They are the best fucking cats. But she wouldn't leave them. They were all trauma bonded together, and I knew better, and I was like, bring them. But the funny thing is, 20 years of marriage, my husband has had a 3-pet limit, period. 3 pets. There's a reason for that, guys. I have a heart. I will literally pick up any dog and any cat off the side of the road. And even though we have a 3-pet limit, I will still pick up a dog and a cat off the side of the road. I may not keep it. I may find its owner or find it an owner or take it to the pound. I'm going to try to shoot this with a lot less sarcasm. I've done like 6 drafts and every single one I come off incredibly sarcastic. But for those of you that want to know how he didn't go to jail, please pay close attention to this part. So Hailey packed up her cats. Hailey packed up a couple journals and left. The detectives assured us, don't worry, we'll go through, we'll collect all the evidence, and anything that's left over will go to Hailey. Somehow, he managed to, while in jail, give custody of his house to his brother. And his brother, whose wife just happens to be a cop in the same town? Gee, by the time the cops got there, all the evidence had been destroyed. It was all gone. Now let's just sit here for the rest of this video and ponder how all the evidence could have disappeared when the only people that had access to the house were his brother and his brother's wife, who was a cop.